Giving me an up-close and personal view. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the JoAnne Powell Show. I am JoAnne. We're coming to you from the World Center of Broadcast Media, WCOBM.TV Hollywood. We have yet another busy action-packed show. We're going to start things off with with the Trump administration being rocked again by another Russian scandal. In this case, the Washington Post story claims that President Trump dictated a misleading statement regarding the meeting between his son, Don Trump Jr., and a Russian attorney. This happened back in June. The statement indicates that the meeting had to do with adoption, but we later found out through Trump Jr.'s emails that actually he met with a Russian attorney to try and get some dirt on Hillary Clinton. So there is definitely a conflict in what happened in that place. And apparently the letter was dictated as the president was heading back from the G20 summit on Air Force One. Well, helping us sort through all this is Bill Snyder, political analyst. He's been on our show several times talking about what goes on in the White House. I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Thank you.
So yet another Russian scandal.
Yes, it is. It's part of the old Russian scandal that Robert Mueller is looking into. This is a legal issue.
Yes.
And it's a very dangerous legal issue for the president. The question for Robert Mueller, the question for the White House is, did President Trump engage in obstruction of justice in trying to prevent the investigation from finding out evidence of his collusion, of his campaign colluding with the Russians last year in 2016. This suggests that he instructed his son, he helped his son make up a reason or state a false reason why he met with this Russian attorney. Mm-hmm. That could be interpreted as obstruction of justice.
Now, in the White House briefing yesterday, they were saying that he was just doing what a father would do to help his son.
Well, that's understandable. A lot of fathers would break the law to help their son. That doesn't excuse it.
Okay, so that's the key component. And that's the big thing in when you're under investigation, which the president and the members of his campaign are. Whenever you have something like this, it just gives the prosecutor and the special prosecutor more things to look at that kind of add to what's happening. And I'm thinking that's probably why he's trying to stop this and get rid of him.
Well, he very much would like to get rid of Mr. Mueller. That would be a sensational move, equivalent to what Richard Nixon did when he fired Archibald Cox, which completely overthrew Nixon's support, even in the Republican Party. Trump's support in his own Republican Party right now, in the Senate particularly, is getting very shaky. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of Republicans ready to bail out on him, including Jeff Flake, the Republican senator from Arizona, who just wrote a book attacking his own president.
And that is pretty earth-shattering when you're looking at what is happening. And, just to see that, I know initially we're trying to have a united front, but the whole healthcare thing and what's going on with that. Now you have members of Congress who are willing to work together, like crossing the aisle, to come up with a solution to fix what is not working with the Affordable Care Act versus all these other bills that nobody wanted, but is just trying to be jammed down the American people's throat.
Congress is taking the initiative because the president is really not showing leadership. All he does is tweet and issue threats. And the Republicans in Congress are not going to respond to those threats. They did what the president wanted. They considered ending Obamacare. It didn't quite work, came within one vote of passing. So now they're saying we're going to look for other routes, including bipartisanship. Yes. Well, Trump keeps urging them to keep doing what's already failed, and they're saying we're not going to do that. Right. We're going to do it in the way legislation should be passed, which is bipartisan.
And they're talking about having some public hearings, having input. And one thing I've always thought, it's good to get input from those within the field that you're talking about, because the nurses, doctors, administrators, the insurance companies, they need to be part of it, along with the American people who are impacted by what's happening.
That's right. You've got to bring people into the process. That was what went wrong with in the early 1990s with Hillary Clinton and her effort to change the health care law. It was done in secret and private through a task force. Republicans this year have made the same exact mistake. They didn't have public hearings. They tried to do it with one party only. That doesn't work.
Right.
All major legislative breakthroughs in American history, civil rights, the tax cuts, the Medicare, Social Security, they've all had to have at least some bipartisan support. If it doesn't have bipartisan support, it's always going to be a political football.
Now, what are your thoughts about the president talking about how the White House is a dump, and then the White House is saying that he never made the statement? It was in Sports Illustrated as when he was out golfing.
It wouldn't be surprising. Look, the president is widely considered a man of wealth, but not particularly a man of class.
Yeah.
He likes things that are covered with marble and gilt. Look at his home in New York.
Gaudy.
Mar-a-Lago, very gaudy. I would say nouveau riche, but he's not so nouveau. His father had money. But the fact is, it's not his taste. And what that proves to a lot of voters in the country and a lot of his colleagues is he doesn't have any class.
Well, I think that a lot of the things that he's done, that a lot of his tweets and then some of his, his picks for various people, specifically with Scaramucci, that definitely was kind of a classless thing. And when he kind of went on of his rants and some of the language that he used, very colorful, and that the president at the time was kind of applauding that tough guy demeanor, kind of was yet another example of the classlessness of the White House right now.
That's right. And Democrats have an opportunity here to build a whole new coalition. What Democrats have to say is, if you have a problem with President Trump, you don't agree with him, you don't like him, you find him to be classless, he's not a president you are proud of, come here and be one of us. Vote with us. You can either be a Democrat or just vote Democratic, but that is the makings of a new coalition in American politics if Democrats are careful. What they can't do is throw people out. They can't say, you can vote Democratic, you can be a Democratic candidate, but you have to agree with X, Y, and Z on guns and abortion and a whole range of issues. Obviously, some issues they have to draw the line. They're not going to accept racists, but they have to make it clear that anyone who objects to Donald Trump's administration, his policies, even his persona, is welcome to be in the Democratic Party.
That'll be interesting to see. Like you said, it's an opportunity to see if they're going to take advantage of that or not. Another issue that we're seeing under the Russian umbrella, we saw that the president did sign the sanctions that against Russia. Congress passed it a week ago, and he finally signed it today. But he wasn't real happy about it, and he let people know that through his tweets as well, which is, when you think about it from a patriotic perspective, it just seems that the president seems to be more concerned about Vladimir Putin, his happiness, what's going on there, versus what's best for our nation.
Well, look, there have been a number of countries that President Trump has said nice things about. Egypt, the Philippines, Russia, India, a lot of countries out there which are really authoritarian regimes that he seems to be very close to. And one of the most shocking things is that the State Department is rewriting its mission statement, and for the first time it is dropping the idea that the United States should promote democracy in the world. That's welcome news for autocrats all over the world. It's a very different kind of foreign policy and considerably more isolationist than in the past. That's what they mean by America first.
Yeah, that'll be interesting because the world was used to the United States kind of taking that, leading the cause when it came to democracy, and we were the example that people strive to be like.
That's right. The rule since World War II has been that whenever there is an international problem or a humanitarian crisis or a threat to international security, if the United States doesn't do something, nothing will happen. There is no substitute. President Clinton called the United States the world's indispensable nation. Well, Trump has been saying now for a couple of years, we don't want that burden. And, a lot of Americans agree with him.
Yeah.
Why is it our business to worry about how other countries govern themselves? If they don't want to be democratic, they don't have to be democratic. This is a real change for the United States.
And what's happening in North Korea right now? I mean, that is kind of initially, I don't think the United States was I think they've always been concerned, but now that it's getting close to some of those missiles can actually reach the U.S. They may not have been so concerned about it reaching California, but now it can reach Chicago, and it's headed to D.C. and New York. Yeah. So there's a lot that's going on, and I think a lot of people are concerned because they're not sure what type of reaction. Diplomacy should always probably be the first step. Whether or not do we, bomb their bombs or whatever, but that's the casualty of hundreds of thousands of people. So what do you do in a situation like this? What should people be concerned about what's going on?
Yes, of course. This is a security issue.
Yes.
I mean, this country is crazy. They are undertaking cyber attacks that could threaten the security, the lives of Americans, possibly from coast to coast. What can we do? Well, the only thing that we really can do realistically is rely on China to exercise influence with North Korea, but they seem reluctant to do it. And they're happy, actually, with North Korea, so they don't have to be very aggressive. The Chinese don't have to be very aggressive for the United States. They'll let the North Koreans do it. This is a very, very serious problem, and it would be for any president. It's dangerous because the capital of South Korea, which has, I think, 13 or 15 million people, is only, I think it's less than 50 miles from the North Korean border. They could incinerate Seoul, the capital of South Korea, at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
That's what makes this very dangerous.
It's very dangerous and is very volatile because you don't know why they're doing this. I mean, are they doing it on purpose to poke the tiger or the lion to generate some type of reaction? And they're like, well, we're not doing anything, but they're getting close in the motives. And I know to the point that the United States wants to dialogue, to let them know we're not your enemy, we're not trying to overthrow your regime, we just want to know we're your friends, and we are not trying to do anything contrary.
Well, I don't think we're their friends.
Well,
they are a communist country. They're hostile to the United States, but the United States has got to let them know that we intend no aggressive actions to change their regime.
Right.
We're not looking for at the moment for regime change in North Korea. That is what the government there is terrified of.
Okay.
That somehow we're going to do to them what we did to Saddam Hussein.
Okay. Well, hopefully that message will get across to them, and this the new page on the Americans being involved with other people's governments. Hopefully that'll be something that will calm their nerves, but it doesn't seem to because they still are launching those missiles.
And they have. I mean, who can explain them? I mean, they're insecure. They have an ideological motivation. All we can do is try to rely on China, which is not terribly reliable. Work with China because they're the only country that really has influence with North Korea.
Well, let's hope that they can work something out for the benefit of the world, not just the U.S.
Absolutely.
It has an impact on everybody.
Not only South Korea, but Japan is close by, and they are threatened by North Korea.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you once again for coming on.
Okay.
We've run out of time once again. When we come back, we're going to be talking about health care reform from someone that's in the middle of all that's going on, an emergency room physician. Let's hear his spin on what his thoughts are as we move forward. You're watching the JoAnne Powell Show.
If you are an adult that began college and has not finished your college degree, let me put it to you straight. If your lifestyle and your standard of living is not becoming to you, then you should be coming to us, Oakwood University Elite Program. We are the fast, flexible adult degree completion program for the busy adult, like you.
Register today. Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098. It's time to leap.
I'm JoAnne with the JoAnne Powell Show. You're watching the World Center of Broadcast Media, WCOBM Hollywood.
Thanks to Oakwood University and the LEAP program, I have now a college degree. So to the Spanish-speaking members of this community who feel that the LEAP program is something you should consider, I would say, ánimo a la universidad. Considere el programa LEAP de Oakwood University.
Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098.
Seize the Day Scuba for your best scuba experience above and below the sea. You'll find friendly staff, experienced PADI certified instructors, and state-of-the-art scuba equipment and gear. Join our dive club and we'll help you plan memorable scuba excursions. Immerse yourself. Seize the Day Scuba Serving Southern California, call 949-220-0500 to create your scuba experience.
When I first started into the program, yes, I had doubts. I was really impressed with Oakwood University, with the faculty and the staff and the student body. It was a really good experience, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who was thinking about going back and finishing their degree.
Register today. Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098.